So welcome back friends. So today's video is a tutorial video and this will be a large video. Again, this will be about an free open source image editing tool called as Gimp. Again, I know there are so many image editing tools both in Linux platform as well as Windows platform, and this particular version has got both its Windows variant as well as the Linux variant, and this is an open source software, so you don't have to buy any of these things. So you can directly download the particular software from their parent site and you will be able to install it and use this particular option. Again, this is a tool which can even be compared with Photoshop. So what we'll see is that how you will be able to use this particular tool in an effective manner. So again, this will be a large video, so probably I will be dividing this particular thing into two sections. And first section will deal with the layout, the basic tools, how they can be used, and where it can be used. So this will be the first part of the video. And in the second part of video, we'll look for some examples. Again, as part of using open softwares in schools and colleges, our Kerala state has initiated to use similar tools in schools and colleges. So the 9th standard Kerala state ICT syllabus has included this as their first module. So from that particular textbook, we'll take practical examples and we'll try to do that particular exercises and other things. Even for the D.El.Ed training, that is teacher training courses, Kerala state has included this particular thing for their second semester IT as part of their second semester IT syllabus. So those who are studying in a D.El.Ed course or in the 9th standard, those who are teaching in 9th standard IT, this particular video will be useful. So please watch till the end of this particular video so that you will be able to gain some knowledge about this particular image editing tool, right? So we'll not waste any more time. We'll directly go into the computer. Again, as per the syllabus given by the ICT, this has to be done in Ubuntu. I am using a Windows 10 OS, so I have already made a video. That particular video is regarding how you can run an Ubuntu in Windows 10 OS using a virtual machine. So if you haven't watched that particular video, I will be adding a card on top of this particular video and even in the description, so that you will be able to go there and you will be able to watch that particular video. So the only difference between that particular video and this particular video is that here I have taken an Ubuntu version where the educational pack for the students has been installed. So what I will do is I will go into my computer and I will open VMware, where I have installed something called as Ubuntu. This Ubuntu ISO has been taken from the Samagra website, so we'll let it open. In the meantime, what I will do is I will go into the Chrome, and what I will do is I will go into the website and will search for Samagra Kite Ubuntu ISO, right? So the kite kerala.gov.in has got a page where you will be able to download this particular resources. So again, Linux 2020 is the latest version of Ubuntu, but as of now I am using this 18.04 version because this has got all the educational packs pre-installed. So I am opting for this particular option. Again, this particular option will also work, but as of now it does not. This educational packs and other things has not been installed into this particular OS. So if you want to use this particular version of OS or the latest version of the Ubuntu, then you will have to manually download these resources and you will have to install those things into this particular OS. For the ease of demonstration, I will be using this particular OS, right? So we'll go back to the virtual machine and I will go into the full screen mode so that you will get an feeling that you are working in Ubuntu OS. So I'll be clicking on to my password, right? So once I click on my password, the OS will open up and will be able to get into the particular OS. So this will be the basic layout. Again, this is the textbook which I was talking. This is a 9th standard textbook, and this one is basically the D.El.Ed course textbook. So we'll take examples from both these textbooks maybe in the next session of this particular video. So this is the layout. Again, this is something different from your normal Ubuntu. This has got some additional features. So we'll go into the layout initially. So the left hand side has got something called as applications, where if you go down, it has all that pre installed softwares of Ubuntu, something like Linux, something like LibreOffice Calc, say LibreOffice Draw, LibreOffice Impress. Those things are pre-installed, so no, don't worry about those kinds of things. But in addition to that, you have got something called as education and educational for kids. Then there is called as Kite web resources. Then there is something called as school resources. So these are all additional things which they have installed into this particular Ubuntu version, so that it is easy to use for the students and teachers who are studying in those classes. So this is one thing, applications. Next is something called as places. So if you want to browse through the folders of this particular OS, then you will be able to do that. Again, by default, the browser which comes with Ubuntu is Firefox. If you go over to the right hand side, then you can see that from here you will be able to control your internet connection. Both wired and wireless connection can be configured using this particular tab. Next is you will be able to select the language tab. Again, English is there, then Malayalam is also added to this particular, has been added to this particular tab. Then you have got calendar, then there are speaker controls, microphone controls, and you have got the detailed calendar with time and date adjustments. So this is the basic layout of your Ubuntu. Again, if I want to go into the Gimp tool, what I should do is I should go to the applications, I should go to the graphics, and inside the graphics I should go into something called as GNU image manipulation program. So this is basically Gimp 2.8, and as far as today's date is concerned, this one is the latest version of Ubuntu. If you are watching it in a future date, then you might have got some updated version of this particular OS. Again, this has got Windows version also. Again, everything will be similar, only the visual appearances and some smaller things will be different in your Windows version. So beware of that. This will be the basic layout of this particular Gimp tool. Again, there are so many menus. We'll go into the menus later. Again, then we have got something called as Toolbox or tool options. There are so many tools which you will be able to, like, we'll be describing each of these tools today. Next is whenever I click on any of the tools, or here you will be able to see the features or adjustments or some additional tabs regarding this particular tool. If you click on this particular tool, everything changes with regards to this particular tool. Again, if you click on this particular tool, then everything will be for this particular tool. Again, for every tool, there are some additional tools which is given over here. Again, here you have got something called as layers and gradients. So we'll see how it can be used, or what are the advantages of having layers. Then here we have got something like called as filters, which is also useful. We'll go through that one also with some certain examples. So for starting this particular thing, the first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to go into the files and you'll have to click on new. Then from there you will be able to select a template. It can be with regards to your image size or canvas size, or maybe it is regarding your paper size. There are paper sizes by default, A3, A4, A5. Those paper sizes are given in this particular template. Or else what else you can give is you can give the exact image size you are going to recreate. Again, it can be selected with reference to millimeter, pixels, inches, and or any of these particular points. So what we will do is we'll go with an A4 size sheet. Again, the size of an A4 size sheet is something like 210 millimeters of width and 297 millimeters of height. So by default, this is selected in portrait mode. If you want to have it in landscape mode, you can click on this particular option. Once you click on this particular option, what will happen is that height will become width and width will become height. So for the demonstration purpose, what I will do is I will go with landscape mode. So I will click on landscape mode and I will click on OK. So once you click on OK, this will be the default layout of your canvas. Again, this is taken as a background layer. This is taken as something called as background layer. You can make these layers visible or invisible by clicking on this particular eye icon, EYE, right? So once I click on this particular icon, I will be disabled, and this particular layer is now not visible for the person who is viewing this particular canvas. So I can make it visible or I can make it invisible. You can have additional layers, you can add additional layers by clicking on this particular tool. So what I am going to do is I am going to change the color of the background. By default this comes in white, right? So what if I want to change this particular white into something specific which I have in mind? For that you will have to understand the concept of foreground and background. So these are the two things, and by default the foreground is selected as black and your background is selected as white. So these are the two colors, and you will be able to interchange this white and black by clicking onto this particular arrows, right? Now to fill this particular background with a specific color, you will have to go with something called as bucket fill tool. And as you could see from here, there is an image of a bucket shown over here. So if you click on to that particular option, you can have multiple options. One is foreground color fill. As of now the foreground is black. So if I click on this particular area now, the whole thing will be colored with the foreground. As of now the foreground is black, so this is covered with black. If I select background color fill and I click on the background color fill, as of now the background color is white, so it is selected as white. So what if I don't want to have either black or white? I want something else for my particular image or for my particular canvas. So what I will do is I will click on the foreground or the background, where you will be able to select a particular color. By default this will be the color selection part, where you can click on any of these options and you can click on one particular area and you can click on OK. There are other ways to select color. Here also you will be able to select your color by clicking on this cyan, by uniquely entering the values for cyan, magenta and yellow. Then there is one more option from here. This is another color palette where you will be able to select a color. This is also another one color palette. Again, if you want to change this, by default as of now this is taken the place over here. If you are changing it, again you will be able to change the color, right? Again this is another way of changing the color. So again I will go with this particular option, and I want something, I want this particular part to be something like a blue. So I will be selecting this particular color and I will be clicking on OK. So now foreground color is selected as whatever color I have selected. Now again this one is clicked, so I will be going here and I will go into the foreground color fill and I will click on the particular canvas. Once it is done, whatever foreground color we have selected, it will be copied onto the background layer. I hope you understood this particular option. And what if I want to have a gradient version of this particular color? So what is gradient and how it can be given using Gimp tool? So for understanding the gradient, we'll go into the next tool, which is called as blend tool. Again, if you hover around that particular icon, it is clearly mentioned that this tool is called as blend tool, right? So blend tool, what it does is it slowly transitions from foreground color to background color. By as of now the foreground color is blue and my background color is white. So it will slowly transition from my blue to white. Again this is basically the linear type of gradient. Now if I click something like this, this point will be my foreground and the last point of my line will be my background. So I don't want this thing to be this much lighter. So what I will do is I will go to the this particular option and I will select blue and I will select something like this one, right? I will click on OK. So what it will do is it will transition from this particular color to this particular color. So again I am selecting something similar to this thing. Again this can be selected either horizontally or vertically. Even you can select vertically also. then the transition will be from, this will be the starting point, this will be the end point, right? So this has got, again what I will do is, this has got some darker, this will look good, right? Now you can go with vertical version also. Even if you go going with vertical version also, then the results will be something similar, right? Hope you understood the concept of gradient. Again, you can have multiple type of gradient. You can go with bilinear gradient. Again, the sample is basically shown in this particular area. So again, you can tweak around these options, and you will be getting something like a precise results. So I hope you understood this particular tool. Next is pencil. So this pencil, paintbrush, again airbrush, ink tool, this all are related. This all are something similar. So we'll go with pencil. Even for the pencil, you can select any of these pencil tips, right? You can select any of these pencil tips. Again, you can you can select the size of the pencil tip. Aspect ratio, angle can also be varied. Again, this is common for both pencil, brush, airbrush, and even for the ink tool, right? Now, if I am going to draw something over here, what the problem is that it will be drawn with the foreground color. So as of now, the foreground color is something darker, and if I draw something over here with this pencil, it will not be visible. So as you could see, over here it is not visible. So what I will do is I will press Ctrl Z so that it undoes the whole process. What I will do is I will select something like a white so that it is clearly visible in this particular area. Now what I can do is I can write onto this particular image, or I can draw anything onto this particular area. So I can write anything. So if you press the shift option, you can click it in straight lines. So again, Ctrl Z. Right. Right. So if you want to draw something like an house, then you will be able to do it using this particular pencil tool. So whatever I have added, this has been added onto the background. So if you want to, once it is added, and modifying this after adding into one particular layer is difficult. So if you are planning to modify one particular thing which is added, then you better go with a separate layer. So I will show you. Whatever I have done with the pencil can also be done with your paint also. So what I will do is, this time around I will click on this particular area and I will click on brush. This is for the demonstration of brush, right? So sorry, BRUSH. Now I will click OK. Once I click OK, this will be a new layer. Again, I can now disable this background to see that this is a separate layer. So onto this separate layer, what I will do is I will click on the brush. I will select some other brush tip, something like a cube, right? So I will select something again, sorry, right. So if you increase the size of the cube, then you could see, right? So this is what the brush tip will look like. So I will again go back. This is more than enough. Again, the shift will work here also. The shift will work. So I will again draw a similar image using this particular brush. I hope. So both are almost similar. One is drawn with one is drawn with pencil, and other is drawn with brush. Again, brush, the option is that whatever I have did, it is being recorded in a separate layer. So I will be able to make it visible. I will be able to make it invisible. And what if I want to move it around? That option is there. This is the tool for doing that. It is basically called, again, the symbol itself suggests that, right? So once I click on this particular option and you have selected the layer which you want to move, then you will be able to move this around, right? Right. Again, this particular layer follows a hierarchical structure. So who, who whichever layer is on the top will be the first one to be visible, and whichever layer is on the last will be the background layer. So as of now, this layer is on the foreground and this layer is on the background. So whatever I draw onto this particular layer will be visible, and this will not be visible, right? So what I will do is I will again go back. So this is the move tool which I can show you. Next is something called as scale tool. So we can increase the size. Whatever I have drawn over here can be, the size of the thing can be increased or decreased if you are doing it in a separate tool, separate layer. So what I will do is I will go with this particular tool. This is called a scale tool. Again, if you hover around that particular icon, you will be able to see what it means and what it states. Now what I will do is, once I click on this particular scale, I will click on the layer which I want to scale, and I will click on this particular image, right? So if I scale now, I can make the aspect ratio is not locked. I will be able to make it into any orientation. But there is an option called as this particular logo. If I click on this particular option, then the aspect ratio will be locked, and once I lock this aspect ratio, I will not be able to change the aspect ratio. So what is aspect ratio? It is basically the ratio between the height and width, right? I hope you are clear. So I can either increase or even decrease the size of the this particular layer, right? So once I click on the scale, it is finalized. Now what I can show you is, there is something called as flip. So once I click on flip, and if I click on this particular layer which I want to flip, and I click on this particular option, I can flip it in any direction. You can give predefined size, right? So it is self-explanatory. So I don't think we don't have to explain it more. So what I will do is I will reset. I will cancel. So this is flip. This is something called as crop. If you want to remove the edges of this particular layer, then you can go with this particular option. So what I will do is I will click on this particular tool, and once I click on this particular option, I can click on this particular area. Again, if you could see over here, it is clearly visible. Do you want to do the cropping onto this particular layer, or if do you want to do the cropping to the whole image? Do you want to have a fixed aspect ratio? So those options all are visible over here. So once I click on this particular image, and if I select this particular area alone, the whole thing will be cropped to this particular area. So once I do that, again this is done for the whole image. So what I will do is I will again press on Ctrl Z, and I will click on this particular thing. So this will be selected to the current layer only. So this brush layer will only be affected by this particular crop. So I will again redo the crop, right? I will click on OK. Now the size of this particular layer has been reduced to this particular area. So this is clearly visible when you're moving around, right? Right? So this is easy for you to understand, right? Right. I hope this particular tool is also clear. Then we are having something like a shred tool. Shred tool is something like if you want to shred something, like move it in some other direction, some other orientation, then you will be able to do this particular option. Again, you will be able to manually give the value over here, and you will be able to change the direction. So for now I will not do that. Just for the demonstration purpose I did. So I will reset, and I will go for the cancel. Again, this can be done in other orientations also. So let us say if you want to do like something similar to this thing, or if you want to do something similar to this thing, this can all be done. So we'll be having a perspective option, perspective view of this particular diagram. So again, for this demonstration I will not do that, but that option is there. So for your understanding, I am just showing it. Then we do have something called as flip tool. So flip tool is basically the whole thing will be reversed, right? This typical example will not give you that. So what I will do is I will show you the flip tool once I go with this particular tool. So this particular tool basically gives you an idea to how to add text to your canvas. So what I will do is I will add some text back for tech. It is right. I can increase the size of this particular area, and I can justify the thing. I can select the color. By default this is selected as a foreground color, so it is in white, so I don't have a problem with white, but still for the demonstration purpose what I will do is I will go with something special so that it is clearly visible. I will click OK. Again the color, it has not been modified, so what I will do is I will click on Control A is for the selecting the text, and what I will do is here I will go with the color. I will go to the green and I will click on this and I will click on OK. So I hope the color has been modified. Again I will go to the move option and I will click to move. Again, if you want to edit this thing, you can again go back and edit this particular option. You do have the option to select your font, the size of the font. Again, justification options are there. You can give intents. So these are the options which you will be able to give for this particular text. Now once this is finalized, now what we'll do is we'll go with flip, right? Again, whatever I am adding as text will be selected, will be saved onto a separate layer, so you don't have to worry about that. Again I will go back to the flip tool, and what I will do is I will click on this particular text tool. Now you can clearly see that the whole thing has been flipped, right? So again I will undo the option and we'll go to the next option. This is called as cage transformation. So cage transformation is something like I will select to this particular layer, that is the brush layer. Now I will select this particular house, right? If you are patient enough, you can clearly select this particular house. Once you have selected the house in a clear particular manner, then you will be able to edit this particular house. You will be able to vary this particular points. Again, this takes some amount of time because it is basically processing. So the more number of points, then more number of precise tweaks you will be able to do, right? Next is basically called as clone tool. So this is the clone tool. So once you click on the clone tool, it will ask again by default this will be the logo. As you could see, it has got a negative symbol, right? It has got a circle and cross mark. So it states that the area to clone has not been selected. So let us say if you want to clone this particular house to another part of this particular image, then you should select initially which layer has to be cloned, right? Then you should click on the part which you want to clone, and you should click on control. Once you click on control, the logo changes. As you could see, as of now this is the logo. If you click on control, the logo changes. Then you should click on the part which you want to clone. Then what you can do is you can clone the same house. Whatever over there will be cloned to this particular side, right? So the exact things can be copied over to the side, right? So this is basically the clone tool. It is very useful if you are trying to copy something from an image, and this will be really useful. So that is one thing you will be able to do. Now what I can do is I will select my passport size photo. So what I will do is I will go to file, I will open, I will go to the desktop, and there is something like a photo of mine. So I will select that particular photo. And what if I want to copy this particular, I don't want the background, I just want my face which has to be copied to that particular image, right? So what I can do is I can go with color select option, right? Color select option. So color select option, what it does is it basically selects the color. So this all are selection tools. Till here it is all selection tools. So from an image, if I want to select something in square shape, I can go with this particular tool, right? Right. Again, if you want to the whole thing, if it has to be copied, then you can go with this particular tool. Again, if you press on Control C, and if you could go back to this particular layer, right? If you copy it, it basically comes as floating layer, and if you want to add it as a separate layer, you can click on this particular option. Now if you want to move around, you can move around this particular image. So this is one way of copying things. Again, if you want to copy something in a cylindrical shape or in an elliptical shape, then you can go with this particular option. Again, I will delete this particular option. I will go with this particular option. Now if I want to copy my face alone, then you will be able to do this particular option. So this is another way of copying things. Next is something called as free select tool. If you are using free select tool, you can clearly, again, control is the shortcut key for zooming around. So what I will do is I will click here and I will click OK. Okay, right. So control and scroll key for zooming around, then space for moving around the particular canvas. And if you are going to select this particular option, right? So this is, again, I am not patient enough. If I am patient enough, I will be able to copy the exact image. If I could complete the particular area, the whole area will be selected using this free transformation tool. So that is another way of selecting tool, right? Selecting one particular area of a canvas. Next is fuzzy select tool. So what this basically does is it has got an internal algorithm through which it selects the similar areas. So if I could click on this particular option, it basically selects again the shirt. It is not clearly selecting, but almost other areas it is basically selecting, right? So that is what it can do, right? Almost, right? So this is another way of selecting. Then next is something called as color selection tool. So if you click on this particular option, let us say if I click on black, let us say if I click on screen color, whatever color we have selected, the similar colors will be copied. So if I click on black, everything in black will be selected. So if I click on black, clear exact black, then everything in black will be selected. So this is another way of selecting something from an image. Next is a scissors tool. Scissors tool is basically cutting exactly, right? What it does is it automatically sharpens up. So if you are patient enough, you will be able to clearly copy something from an image, right? Right. Once you complete the thing, you can Control C, copy, and you can paste it somewhere else. Let us say, again, if I am copying it as a new image, if I am moving around, as you could see, almost everything is clear. Like here some white part is this, here some white part is this, but almost accurately without the background you will be able to select this particular image. So this is another way of copying things. Next is again uh, another way of copying is this particular tool. This is called as path tool. So path tool is again copying something. If the curves and all are there, you will be able to adjust this particular layers in such a way that you can copy the curves. So again, that is another way of copying things, right? Right. So next, this is called as color fill tool. So let us say if I want to select a color from this particular image, then what I can do is I can click on this particular tool and I can click on this particular option. So wherever I have selected, that particular color will be selected as foreground color. So it will be useful if you want to, let us say I want to cover this particular area to one specific color, like something like the silver color of my shirt, right? So what I will do is I will click on this particular thing and I will select this particular color, right? So the color is already selected. Now what I can do is I can click on color bucket. I can go with a forward color fill and I can click on this particular option. As you could see, the background color has been modified to this particular option. Again, the edges and other things are a bit what we can say, the errors are there, but still it is somewhat accurate, right? So this is color fill tool. Again, this is called a zoom tool. Again, if you want to zoom into one particular image, you can always opt for clicking on your control key and using scroll wheel of your mouse. But this is another way of zooming into an image. So once you click on this particular option, you can click on the image, and by default the symbol has got plus. So once you click on the particular image, this enlarges. So if you click on your control, this become minus, and if it is minus, and if you click onto this particular image, then it basically decreases the size, right? So for zooming in and out of an image, you can opt for this particular option. Then there is something like healing tool. Healing tool is useful, let us say if there are any imperfections on your face, then what you can do is you can click on those areas which has got some imperfections. So it will basically heal. Yeah, it basically heals that particular area again, right? Right. Similarly, if I want to copy something to something like, oh, that is bad. Right. Something this can be done to your face. That is one thing. Then next two tools are called as Smudge tool and DOS tool. Let us say if you zoom into this particular image, as you could see, the transitions are not smooth. This is my face. This is the altered background, but in between the transition, we can clearly see that white background. So for removing this particular background, you can try with a blur tool. You can go with this particular smudge tool. You can also try dots tool, right? So let us say if I try something similar to this thing, that is one option. Again, you could try multiple times to reduce the effect of this particular background layer. Can blur also, even you can try to blur this layer also. So if you do it 2-3 times, the transition will become smooth and the white layer will be somewhat reduced, right? So this is something you will be able to do, right? If you zoom out, again this will become much more smoother. So this is another way of doing things. So now this particular tool is called as measuring tool. It is very useful if you want to exactly measure between 2 points inside a canvas. Again, the ruler is available on top of this particular image, but still if you want to have exactly if you want to find the exact distance between 2 points inside an image, then you can go with this particular option. So let us say if I want to find the length of this particular house, then what I can do is I can click on this particular 2 points, and the exact distance will be shown over here. Even the angle, again there is a slight deviation in the area which I have selected, so that angle will also be clearly mentioned over here. So I hope I have covered almost all the tools which is being used in this particular toolbox. Probably in the next video or the part 2 of this particular video, what we'll do is we'll go and we'll try to recreate the exact examples which is being done in those two books, the 9th standard Kerala State 9th standard ICT book, as well as the D.El.Ed semester 2 IT module 2 section. So we'll do some exercises, and we'll try to get familiarized more on this particular tool. I hope this information is helpful, and please subscribe to our channel for similar informations. Bye for now. Bye bye. Thank you.